Hi, this is Dr. Duresti with the Cranial Release Technique, and I'm so thrilled tonight to have with us Dr. Lance Rawlings live from Sandy, Utah. And by the way, it's May 10, it's 7:25 p.m. in New York City. And Lance, good evening. I guess it's afternoon there. Looks like it was a beautiful day when you showed me out the window in beautiful Sandy, which is outside of Salt Lake City. So thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So we were just discussing off camera how Lance probably took the cranial release training, we were saying we weren't sure, 12, 13 years ago, more or less. And before that, and you are a chiropractor in practice in Sandy, Utah. And before cranial release, I'm assuming traditional type osseous adjusting?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to the Los Angeles College of Chiropractic and finished that program 40 years ago.
Right.
And since that time, I primarily focused on diversified technique, and still include that with many of my cases. So that's been the major technique that I've used all those years.
Right. Great. And what led you into becoming a chiropractor? How did that all happen?
Yeah, you know, that to me seems like it's a story I've heard many, many times over the years of someone who, through a personal experience and the benefits and the wonderful outcomes that we all got as patients, we kind of got an interest started in our mind to maybe wonder if I could do that or be a doctor even, or just, so it was an early experience as a patient that got me motivated.
Right. Okay. All right. So now we turn the clock back 13 years. You end up at one of our seminars. I think we originally met in Las Vegas at a Carl Parker seminar. It's probably where we met. And you probably heard an intro seminar. And if memory serves me right, you came to Miami Beach when we were teaching there at the time.
Yes, I attended your 2-hour preview, and then, and honestly, and I've told this a number of times, so I don't mind. It just comes to mind automatically. I don't mind admitting that as I walked into the class, I was basically just there after 27 years of practice. I was just there to get my hours of relicensing, credentialing stuff, and so I probably wasn't extremely interested in what anybody had to say after being in practice so long. I figured I was doing what I was taught to do, and that were my options.
Right, right. Well, something happened either when you watched someone get on the table or when you got on the table. You probably experienced something that said, wait a minute, I better investigate this a little deeper. I don't know if you recall what that was, but.
Well, no, I'm in the back of the class, just kind of with my Sports Illustrated, and next thing I know, I hear this New York guy, and I'm into comedy and voices. I like to listen to things, and I heard this really unique sound, and I thought, I'm going to listen to this guy from a entertainment standpoint. And then the next thing I know, it switched over into listening to you from an educational standpoint. And I thought, and then I'm starting to look for hidden cameras. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, I was just really intrigued by what you had to say. And after the talk, I'm sure you've talked to thousands of people, but I did something I don't normally do, which is go up and approach the speaker. I'm usually reserved. I stay out of the way. I just go to my next class or whatever it is.
Right.
But I remember coming up to you and introducing myself and asking a few questions. And you told me about the available courses and the schedule and how to find out what's available. And it wasn't very long after that I signed up and met you in Miami.
Right.
For the training.
Right, right. And so for the practitioners that are out there listening to this, and again, I don't want to make this too long, very short and simple, and we'll put it on the CRT YouTube channel, but for the practitioners out there, I mean, you're a chiropractor, I'm a chiropractor, I've been in practice 35 years now, pretty much. So What would you say to the chiropractor out there that's either just beginning practice, the guy who's out there 20, 30 years like you and me, or maybe longer, and they're maybe still interested in finding something, they're missing something, but they really don't know what it is? You have any thoughts on how cranial release might answer those questions in their mind, or anything along that line of thinking?
Well, first of all, to hit on what you just said, I really don't care who you are. If you're not doing this work, you really are missing something. And that is, I hope like mad, that doesn't sound like a commercial or an advertisement or anything phony, because it's not. You can do 100 things. If you're not doing this, you're still missing number 101. And, you know, if I wanted to be, well, I just flash back. I believe it's page 39 of the manual at the time when I took your course. The most impactful one-liner I think you can say, that once you know what you and I both know, this one-liner really sums up everything. Unless you address the cranium, in other words, you can't affect long-term change without aiming at the spine alone, is how I think it's something like that, how it's written.
Right.
And so unless you're adding the cranial work, you're not going to affect long-term change. And I don't know of anything out there from a chiropractic standpoint that can even begin to make an argument, because it's two things. It's really, as we've talked a number of times, it's not really under the realm of chiropractic from a standpoint of not involving the spine, yet it totally involves the spine.
Correct.
So it's its own category and its own, it's like a, you know, what's the unicorn or the animal that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's the real deal though, but I mean, it's, I don't know what you name it or where you classify it, but.
Right. And before I forget, you had a very interesting encounter with a fairly famous person in the, I guess, the alternative healing / psychology world by the name of Dr. Wayne Dyer, when you were at an event in Las Vegas, at another event. And, you know, in a nutshell, if you wouldn't mind just sharing that story, because I don't think people have heard that. Although on my YouTube channel, we do have Wayne Dyer doing a testimony about cranial release, telling how he was basically walking through a casino and bumped into you, and that's his side of the story. Then you took him upstairs and did the CRT on him, but you probably have a different perspective. And I think he was either talking about a chiropractic, he was either talking at an event, or you take it from there, because I wasn't there. So
yes, yeah, he was the keynote speaker at this another national chiropractic convention, and he started off the morning with his 2-hour talk, and it was just wonderful. And within the time on stage, he you know, he wanted us to all know how much he appreciated and utilized chiropractic over the years, and that his chiropractor, quote unquote, saved his life. And he was doing this technique that, and Dr. Dyer even mentioned the technique. He said that the guy was doing ART with him, and he went on and on and on. And then he went and talked about other areas of life and how to improve and just personal growth and all these things. But then I kept sitting in my chair thinking, he needs to know what CRT is. He needs to know what this is. And I just don't know how to get to him. So it's a long story that I won't really tell the whole thing. But 7 hours later, after he was long gone and we had all these other classes and so forth, in the weirdest way that another, 10-minute part of the story could be told, I end up bumping into him in a basically deserted area of the casino that had the hotel elevator and the shops were closing and blah, blah, blah. Totally unplanned. And he saw my badge from the seminar. So he actually said hello. And I told him, how much we appreciated his talk and so forth. Anyway, one thing led to another. I offered to work on him if he's ever in Salt Lake City, because he's done some programs here. he kept asking me questions. I was trying to get away because I didn't want to bug him. Next thing you know, he says, well, could we do this now? And I can't tell you how interested in this work he was, and how much he kept pushing the conversation while I was trying to pull away because I didn't want to be a groupie or whatever.
Right.
And next thing you know, I'm working on him and his girlfriend in their suite upstairs, and he's going, wow, I can't believe this. And I end up hanging out with him for an hour and a half, just talking about all kinds of things, everything under the sun. Then as I was leaving, they said, is there any way we could do this again? Is it too soon? I said, no, let's do it. When do you want to do it? He goes, well, we're still in town tomorrow. Anyway, so I went back the next day and had a repeat, and they told me how wonderfully they slept, and went on and on and on, like I always use the example, like 10-year-old kids, Christmas morning,
Right.
And so we ended up kind of having not some great friendship, but we kept in touch for the next, 5-6 years, off and on a little bit. I saw him in Salt Lake a couple times and treated him and helped with Dr. Duresti here. As you recall, we trained his doctor from Hawaii that came over, the one he was bragging about on stage at the seminar. Anyway, so that was a really awesome experience that I don't know how it happened. Dr. Dyer said there are no mistakes.
Yeah, that's true.
No accident. But anyway.
Great. Well, just to wrap things up, Lance, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, now you're in Sandy, Utah, which is outside of Salt Lake City. How would they find you? I mean, you're on my website, cranialrelease.com, but how, any contact information you want to share, a website, a phone number?
Yeah, it's easy. I'm in Sandy, Utah. It's about 20 minutes south of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And my website is sandychiropractor.com, SANDY chiropractor.com, and there's some contact information there.
Great.
I don't think my cell number's on there, but for your people, anybody can call me at 801-718-8927.
Okay, great. I will put that information on in the description of this video. So, Lance, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I want to thank you I know you work today, so I want to thank you for spending some time with us. Again, cranialrelease.com is the website for everyone. And this will go out on my YouTube channel, which again is, if you just go to YouTube and type in cranial release technique, you'll see my channel. You should subscribe to that as well if you haven't already. Lance, thanks so much for your time, and we'll be in touch. How about that?
All right, doctor. Thank you for asking, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Lance. Have a good night.